All right, welcome to another episode of Guarantee News. I am your host, Garrett. As usual, if you're watching, thank you. You could be watching anything in the world and you're watching Guarantee News, and I appreciate that. Even if you're watching for just a second now, in this video, and I think I always say comments. I'm not getting enough comments, I feel like, because I want to go off what you guys are saying, but I guess maybe if I'm not getting I don't know. I'm not going to get into a thing about it. But comment what you think below. Am I shooting this person too much bail? Because that's what the episode is gonna. We'll get to why I say that. But where am I right? Where am I wrong? What's going on? Tell me where you agree and disagree in the comments, please. And subscribe to my YouTube at GS Studios, GSTEWDIOS. All right, now let's get to the point of this episode. We're gonna be talking about the U.S. Open. And did I save? What was the one I wanted to? All right, I didn't. Let's see. It's about Coco Gauff and Aryana Sabelenka in the Roland Garros final. That's what we're going to do this episode about. Coco won in 3 sets, won the final 2 sets. The first set, Aryana won in a tiebreak. Then Coco dominated the second set, and the third set was a little bit of a battle. But I always thought Coco was going to win. I'll say that. But that's what this episode is going to be about. So Coco won Roland Garros on Saturday, and this was for the first time in her career. And this was her second major championship of her young career. But one of the main stories that came out of that was from her opponent, Aryana Sabelenka, and the comment she made in the press conference afterwards when she was beat by Coco, right? Now, I'm going to show what the video of what Aryana Sabalenka said, and I'm going to show Coco's response, because I'm not going to just read them out, because sometimes when you read a quote, like I don't even need to see the video. The quote was crazy, so I don't even need to see it. But sometimes when you watch a whole video and see it all the way through, it does give you just seeing how someone says it, just seeing their kind of their demeanor, and then the full thing that they're saying before and afterwards, it kind of you react to it differently. You just get a different sense of it than if you just read something. So I'm going to show both videos. Now, I'll say these are my 2 favorite women players in tennis. I've been getting into tennis since about the 2023 U.S. Open, to be honest, where Coco beat Sabalenka again, and I'll get to more of that. But these are my 2 favorite women's tennis players. I mean, I talked about it on my stream on Friday. Go subscribe to my Twitch. I'm going to start streaming every weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But I talked about this on stream. I love Sabs because she has the big, humongous personality. She's always smiling, happy. Not on Saturday when she lost, but she's always smiling, happy, dancing. The way she plays on court is so dominant and entertaining, and it's hard not to become a fan of her. She's a really fun player to watch. She has a really good personality, and she's emotional. I'm an emotional person, and she shows her emotions a lot. She wears her heart on her sleeve, and she doesn't control them the best, which is part of why she lost. Now, I love Coco as well. They're my number 1. They're my 1 and 2, to be honest, and I like them both equally. I love Coco though because she's the young prodigy. Went pro at like 14. Let me look that up to be sure. I don't want to just say that wrong. When did Coco Gauff go pro? How old? How old was Coco Gauff when she turned pro? Yeah, you got to be specific, I guess. 14, yeah. 14 when she went pro, right? Yeah, let's see. Let me put it on. Let's just go back to Twitter. So she was 14 when she went pro. Young prodigy. She's black dominating in tennis, and she plays wild all over the place, getting to every ball. She's so athletic. She's so fun to watch, but she's so poised and calm behind her ears. Every time she's playing, she's spinning the racket, that straight face. She's so calm and poised behind her ears. And there's times where you can see her emotion and sees that she's emotional, which I love because, again, I'm an emotional person. So I love emotional players because I think it's better to learn how to control the emotions than to learn how to not feel them or ignore them. Like I'm an emotional person by nature, and I like people that show emotion but control them. And I also like people that show emotion and kind of get lost in it sometimes, even though I know it's wrong. And that's the point of this episode. We'll get to that. And I know the intro is long. Just trust me. Stick with me. Now, yeah, Coco. That's why I like Coco. Now, when I first saw what Aryana said, I thought, this is sore loser, hater, all the different things you were saying on Twitter, ill-hearted a little bit, made me think of maybe like, I'm still going to like Sabs because I've seen so much of her. And I was getting the feeling that what I'll talk about, but I was kind of like, wow, this is not good, right? And then after talking to a friend and putting myself in Aryana Sabalenka's actual shoes as a competitor and someone that, like I said, I am emotional and sometimes I can get a little lost in them. I'm better now as I'm older, but we'll get to that even in this episode, right? But actually putting myself in her shoes, I will say I'm going to shoot her some bail. But that's the intro. First, let me play these 2 videos. I know that was 5 minutes. Let me play these 2 videos. I want to show what Aryana said after the loss. Tough loss, 3-2 loss, 3-set loss. She lost 2 sets in a row. Get to that more, but let me show what they both said, and then we'll get to it. Now, let's go. Let's see.
Match is really incredible. In the past 2 weeks, I played really tough matches, really incredible players, and I played definitely better level than in the final. It was really, honestly, the worst tennis I played in the last, I don't know how many months, and the conditions were terrible, and she simply was better in these conditions than me, and I think it was the worst final I ever played.
Do you think there was a momentum shift in the first set, because you started the match really well? You led 4-1. What happened at 4-1? Do you think that Coco got better or the conditions got tougher?
Yeah, I think it was more windy and got more windy, and also I think I was over emotional, and I think today I didn't really handle myself quite well mentally, I would say. So basically that's it. I was just making unforced errors. Like, I don't know, I have to check the statistics. I think she won the match not because she played incredible, just because I made all of those mistakes.
This is where it gets crazy.
Like, if you look from the outside.
Like, the first half, it was like, okay, and this is where it gets crazy.
No, I have to check the statistics. I think she won the match not because she played incredible, just because I made all of those mistakes from, like, if you look from the outside, kind of like from an easy balls.
But is it harder because it's the final of the Grand Slam? I mean, these events are so much bigger than everything else.
Hurts. I mean, especially when you've been playing really great tennis during the whole week. You know, you've been playing against a lot of tough opponents, Olympic champion Iga, you know, and then you go out and you play really bad. Like, I don't know, I think if Iga would win me another day, I think she would go out today and she would get the win. It just, you know, like, yeah, it just hurts. Honestly, it hurts. Like, been playing really well, and then in the last match, go out there and perform like I did. That hurts.
Alex Beth, she's hating. We'll get to that. I'm gonna get to everything. Because I know what you're thinking watching this. And now let's play with Coco. Says she has the perfect answer.
When Aryna sat here, she said that she thinks if Iga had won her, she wins the thing today because of how the match turned up. Do you think the way you play today, you beat anyone? It doesn't matter who's on the other side of the net?
She said if I play Iga in the final.
She said that if we go. She didn't mention exactly winning you, but she said if Iga won me, she would won the thing.
I mean, I don't agree with that. I'm here sitting here, and last time I played, no, like to Iga or anything, but I played her and I won in straight sets. So, I don't think that's a fair thing to say, because anything can really happen. And honestly, I mean, the way Aryna was playing the last few weeks, she was the favorite to win. So I think she was the best person that I could have played.
And not to pause, but perfect answer. Aryana Sabelenka was the 1, Coco was the 2. The best player to play is the number 1 player. Now, Iga is like a dog on clay. Everybody talks about how good Iga is on clay. And she just said, I beat her in straight set. Perfect answer. It's a perfect answer.
Final. This few weeks, she was the favorite to win. So I think she was the best person that I could have played in the final. Her being number 1 in the world, she was the best person to play. So I think I got the hardest matchup, just if you go off stats alone. Obviously, Iga being a champion here, it was going to be a tough match either way. But yeah, I think regardless of who I played, I think I had a good shot to win, and I definitely had that belief. And if you ask me, like, honestly speaking to you guys, who I wanted to play, it was Iga, just because I felt Aryna was playing so good, and she was. So, but also Iga is a tough opponent too. So honestly, neither of them would have been a better shot, but you know, it played out how it played out.
And Ego, and she's right, that week Aryana was dominating. Like, I don't want to say she was like on one of those hadn't lost a set runs, but she was dominating. So her saying like maybe I would have rather play the easier player, but at the same time they're both. This was a poised and mature.
I think I had a good shot to win, and I definitely had that belief. And if you ask me, like, honestly speaking to you guys, who I wanted to play was Ika, just because I felt Aryana was playing so good, and she was. So, but also Ika is a tough opponent too. So honestly, neither of them would have been a better shot, but it played out how it played out, and yeah, that's why I'm here today.
Yeah, you did well anyway.
Thanks.
All right. Now, I'm going to say right off the bat, right, Aryana was wrong for this. I'll say that up first. She was wrong for saying that. But I think this was a sign of a frustrated, too emotional competitor reacting in the moment, absolutely shitty and disappointed in herself for not playing better and not performing where she thinks she could have played in rough conditions. It was raining outside. So the first set started and it was raining outside. Oh, no, the first set started and it was windy. They were talking about that. And then going into the second set, it started raining and they were on the thing talking about, like, are they going to maybe stop the match and close the roof? And I was like, no, don't do that. Don't do that, because I don't want it to ice Coco, because she was dealing with it better. And I didn't want it to ice Coco. I was thinking that. And, in tennis, you have to stay, like you'll see right here, you have to stand right afterwards, right next to the person you just beat. She's literally crying, holding the second place trophy, which is a plate next to a whole cup, like immediately after you lose in a set where you feel like you didn't play as good as you think you could. And I just lost a kickball game yesterday. I'm in a men's kickball, or really just an adult kickball league, because men and women, I don't know why I said that. I just lost a kickball game yesterday, and I made a big mistake. I made a big mistake. Okay, this is what happened. I lost a kickball game yesterday. The guy that was pitching was throwing absolute heat. He was curving in stuff. I couldn't figure out how to kick the ball. And then I made a play in like one of the last innings. We were up by like 1 or 2 points, and a ball was in the air. I couldn't run onto it, so I should have just put a body on it. I tried to stop it with my feet. It was the soccer in me. I tried to stop it, and I was going to pick it up and throw it. I missed it, went behind me, and they were able to score. And I was so frustrated in myself because I was like, I knew I could have played. The team we played was really good. The pitcher was throwing heat, but I knew I could play better. And I'm like, shit, like if I hadn't made that mistake, if I had played as good, like, I should have played better. You're angry at myself. And I shook hands with the people. I was ready to go home. I was extremely frustrated. And it was one of those feelings, like, at first I was angry and I didn't even want to talk really to the team. I was pissed at myself, but then I thought about it. I was like, you just got to play better. Like, it's not about me. You have it thinking about it afterwards. But in the moment I was shitty. But in this match, Coco handled the weather better. She handled the ups and downs of just the flow of tennis better, the runs that you go on and how long of a game it is. And she handled her emotions better, and at the end of the day, she just played better. But like I said, right after losing a match where you don't even feel like you played your best, you're standing on a podium getting a second place trophy, and then having to explain your feeling when you're an intense competitor already, not in the best control of your emotions, cannot be easy. And when Aryana says, I didn't play my best, she had 70 enforced errors. She just didn't handle it well, and she didn't handle her emotions the way she should have. But I don't think that's a sign of like an ill will player, or a player that like really was trying to disrespect Coco, or really has disrespect for Coco as a whole. Now I will show a tweet to kind of maybe end on this, and I will say beforehand while I'm going to this, Aryana should be told she's wrong for doing this, and she was wrong, and it wasn't right. But again, this I don't think is an ill will sign of a person. I think it's someone that is so competitive, so angry, so frustrated, feeling like she could play so much better, and she lost something she should have had, just going out and just being too honest and being too emotional, which is, that's human. That's human nature. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Now, I will say, this says it's so clear that Sabalenka sees Coco as a lesser player rather than an equal, and that's why the head-to-head is the head-to-head. I think because now the head-to-head is 6-5. They're like evil. They're like even. So I don't know. That's a little. But she doesn't respect Coco's game, and let me just make sure of that. I think it's just 6-5 Coco. So that part was a little. Coco Gauff versus Sabs head-to-head. They better just give me Sabs. That's cap. That's not what it is now. Okay, it's 6-5. It's 6-5 now. It's 6-5. Okay, so that's what the head-to-head is between the two of them. So that part of it. But yeah, it's so clear that Sabalenka sees Coco as a lesser player rather than an equal. That's why the head-to-head that's exaggerative. She doesn't respect Coco's game. it is clear that she thinks she's a lot better than Coco. She thinks she's more skilled than Coco, and she should not think that. That could be a part of why she's losing, because even if she might technically be in her head better, or I could see like have the better serve and be more dominant, you just can't feel that way realistically. And in the 2023 US Open final, she beat you. Like, if I was Sabalenka's coach, I'd be like, bro, we gotta work on you being as angry as possible, frustrated as possible, and still playing the best. We got to get you angry and playing and train you better in that way. And you got to look at videos of her playing and respect whatever it is in your head for you to think you're so much better than her. We got to beat that out of you. And you lost to Madison Keys in the Australian Open finals. She does maybe have a problem of emotion, maybe now thinking she's better than players, where you need to just come out and give every player the most respect that they deserve. You could make a comment about that, I think, but I don't think she's ill. But I think she's just emotional, maybe not in the most control of her emotions still. Way better than when she started. But that's the only thing I wanted to talk about with that. And she needs to give every player the most. She needs to be angry about this and think, and when Wimbledon comes, I'm giving every single player my utmost respect in the entire world. I'm playing them how I guess she feels about Iga. Like, every single player gets treated like Iga, from the first match to the very final match that I'm in. And if you beat me, it's going to be beating you, thinking you can beat me before it starts. She shouldn't be in the match getting surprised that she's getting beat, because it's obviously not working for her. But that's what I'll say about that. I just wanted to talk about that because I'm a big fan of tennis, and that was something interesting that I thought one way, and then I talked to people and I thought about it and thought another way and tried to find the middle, because that's what I'm always doing on Guaranteed News. But yeah, that's a wrap for that. Thank you for watching that. Have a good rest of your day. Yeah, that's a wrap.